I looked at people being slaughtered, people engaging in sexual activity with animals, people abusing children physically, sexually, people committing suicide.
Another thing about this Kenya thing. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be watching The Dark Side of ChatGPT by Lou Extras. Let's get into the video.
There's a new force that's altering the world as we know it from the ground up. Where it was once the stuff of science fiction, artificial intelligence now has such a profound grip on the world that it's more rare to encounter someone who doesn't use it in some capacity than someone who does. And among the sea of competitors including Grok, Google Gemini, and Claude, the one that even your grandparents know about is ChatGPT. Armed with over 500 million users, the bot is the crown and the jewel of OpenAI, a company which by January of 2023 raised funds at a $29 billion valuation, including a potential $10 billion investment by Microsoft. Since reaching its current global market dominance, that figure has ballooned to $500 billion, even with considerable losses. And listed for everything from cheating on tests to crafting wedding speeches, the end product can often lead to something vaguely profound or just straight up hilarity.
Is Santa real?
Santa Claus is a wonderful symbol of the holiday spirit, generosity, and joy.
Okay, I'm done with this. She's not smart at all.
But these encounters undercut what ChatGPT is really capable of doing. In fact, it can do so much that has caused no shortage of ethical quandaries and doomsday prophecies from some people.
Honestly, you're mentioning the cheating on tests, bro. I wish I had ChatGPT when I was in school. I would have solved so many problems. I was in engineering school, so it took a while for ChatGPT to really get to answering engineering questions. But, dude, that would have been so freaking clutch to have in school regardless. I did use it for a good amount of job interviews, kind of prepping me for interviews and things like that, and low-key finessing, typing stuff in ChatGPT while in the middle of an interview. But
fear its power. Now, there's a case to be made that it's all part of the natural process of our technological evolution that's been happening for thousands of years.
Better and better versions of itself. Where does that go? That goes to a god.
What kind of god? So, like, I think of it this way. So the first stage of the Industrial Revolution consisted of people building machines that were stronger than the human body. So the steam-powered loom.
Sure.
The backhoe.
Combustion engine.
Combustion engine. They replace muscles. That's what the machine does. It becomes stronger than the human body. The second stage, which we're in the middle of, consists of creating machines that are more powerful than the human mind. That's what computing is. And I would say AI or supercomputing is just exponentially.
However, even its supporters acknowledge there's room for it to get out of hand.
People made the machines, but I would say the part I agree with is there's a spiritual component here for sure. People will worship AI as a god. AI, Ted Kaczynski was likely right, will get away from us. We will be controlled by the thing that we made. Like, that's just bad, and we need to say unequivocally, it's bad. It's bad to be controlled by machine.
I agree. It is bad to be controlled by machines, but do you guys really think that people will worship AI as a god? Do you think people will take AI and start treating it like Jesus, like the Bible, like Islam? Let me know in the comments below.
Machines are helpmates. Like, we created them to help us, to make our lives better, not to take orders from them.
Because make no mistake, there is an undercurrent to not only how it operates today, but what it's capable of doing in the future that even has its architects running scared.
Slowly but surely, or maybe not so slowly, AI will keep getting better. And the day will come when AI will do all the things that we can do. Not just some of them, but all of them.
Do you guys think it's smart to have something like this where the people who are creating it are scared of it? Like, that kind of freaks me out a little bit about AI as I've been learning more and more about it, just from ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, and quantum computing and things like that. Do you guys think it's smart for us to let this run? And the creators of it are terrified of what it can become? Like, have we not seen Terminator, Skynet? I don't know. Let's keep going.
Anything which I can learn, anything which any one of you can learn, the AI could do as well. You may not take interest in politics, but politics will take interest in you. So the same applies to AI many times over. AI, the very smart, super intelligent AI in the future, there will be very profound issues about making sure that they say what they say and not pretend to be something else.
It's your boy Luis, the And this is the dark side of ChatGPT. Released in November of 2022, after a lengthy development phase, ChatGPT became such an embedded aspect of our collective culture that it's as if it's always been there. Yet, from the minute that it was rolled out, people began to see its flaws and the potential areas where things could get messy. For one thing, the AI is trained on large-scale datasets taken from across the world and interacts with countless messages delivered by real people, which may lead to some privacy and security risks. Sustainability is also a major issue, as the maintenance costs of ChatGPT are high, and its environmental impact as well.
Yeah, dude, ChatGPT requires a ton of energy. I have a friend who works for an electric company, and they help build data centers. And right now, all across the country, they're spending billions of dollars to build data centers just to process all the computing for AI, all the cloud, everything like that. And just from the computing power that's being used and all the facilities that are being built, it's taking an insane amount of energy, affecting power grids, things like that. And if AI is going to keep growing, this is just going to make everything significantly more expensive as far as energy goes.
Energy consumed during this process emits an immense amount of carbon dioxide and uses approximately 700,000 liters of fresh water. The environmental impact of ChatGPT is 22 times greater than that of a traditional search engine like Google. A single response from ChatGPT emits 4.41 grams of carbon dioxide, while a Google search emits an estimated 0.2 grams. Since then, other potential limits to its reliability have come to light, with the number one concern that was uncovered during a study conducted in 2024 was bias in what it delivers to the user. But far more troubling than that, there was the issue that it had a tendency to engage in a little hate speech or other things that were potentially harmful.
Just from the energy usage alone, I personally feel like we need to put a pause on AI and ChatGPT. I know how useful it is. I know what you guys are going to say. But I personally feel we need to put a pause on it until we can find a way to efficiently provide energy to process all this computing power and these facilities to run the AI. Because right now it seems like it's just going to be a net loss for humanity as a whole and the world as a whole. But let's continue.
And unfortunately, the problem was that it was trained on hundreds of billions of words scraped from the internet. As we know, many of those have a tendency to be racist, sexist, homophobic, or everything in between. Basically, ChatGPT was poisoned from the outset by the most toxic resource there was: us. Moreover, the attempts to salvage it only spoke to the inherent evil of humanity. When trying to stop ChatGPT's seedy
If y'all are wondering why he means it was poisoned by us, it's basically for ChatGPT to get better and other AIs to get better, it has to process data. And the way that they process data is by taking the inputs from multiple users and then gradually adjusting and tweaking based off of that. So when you're using ChatGPT, you can see it'll ask you, oh, was this helpful? And you can press a thumbs up, and that lets the machine know, okay, cool, we can repeat this response for this type of question. And the machine continues learning from the data we input. That's part of the reason why they made ChatGPT free in the first place, was so everybody could come in and use it. It can take in all the data from everybody using it and then get smarter from there. So that's basically what he means by we're the ones that poisoned it.
Belly from being exposed, OpenAI embarked down a path of content moderation. But rather than do it to themselves, they enlisted the services of an organization as Sama, who billed themselves as an ethical AI company, who then sent tens of thousands of text snippets to an outsourcing firm in Kenya, where they paid around $1.32 and $2 per hour to sift through some of the darkest things imaginable. Seriously, I couldn't even begin to fully go into it here without this channel getting instantly demonetized. But articles like this are out here, which go into it in greater depth.
I looked at people being slaughtered, people engaging in sexual activity with animals, people abusing children physically, sexually, people committing suicide.
Another thing about this Kenya thing, sorry to keep pausing the video, but another thing about this Kenya thing is the people who they paid this $1 to $2 an hour to sift through all this negative ChatGPT content and all these evil things that were just previously mentioned, they were reportedly receiving negative thoughts, suicidal thoughts, things like that. People were having to have legit mental health crisis just from all the negative things they were seeing while trying to manually filter through the ChatGPT searches.
All day long?
Yes, all day long. 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week.
I was watching dismembered bodies or drone attack victims, you name it. Whenever I talk about this, I still have, flashbacks.
Are any of you a different person than they were before you had this job?
Yeah, I find it hard now to even have conversations with people. It's just that I find it easy to cry than to speak.
You continue isolating yourself from people. You don't want to socialize with others. It's you and it's you alone.
Many workers later reported serious mental health issues from what they were forced to read, with some saying the job destroyed me completely.
See what I'm saying? This is insane.
When you look at the trauma they endured compared to the tiny amount they were paid, it's no surprise that OpenAI has been widely criticized as exploitative. As the Partnership on AI, an organization that OpenAI itself is part of, put it, despite the foundational role played by these data enrichment professionals, a growing body of research reveals the precarious working conditions these workers face. They suggest this might be the result of tech companies hiding how dependent AI really is on this visible labor force, out of sight, but also out of mind.
Which is crazy, because if you think about it, why do they need people to manually source through all this negative stuff? If the AI is so smart and the AI is constantly learning, why can't the AI manually go in the same way it learns from all the data, go in and take out all the stuff that's harmful? Why does it need manual computing to go in and do that and messing up people's lives in the process?
What we're seeing is an inequality.
It sounds so good. An AI job. Is there any job security?
The contracts that we see are very short term, and I've seen people who have contracts that are monthly, some of them weekly, some of them days, which is ridiculous.
She calls the workspaces AI sweatshops with computers instead of...
No, that's literally what it is. It's a freaking sweatshop. They're getting paid. They're going to another country, basically like how they're doing with the Chinese kid labor, paying somebody $1 to $2 an hour. They're working 8-hour days, so let's say at most they're making $16 an hour to completely ruin their life. And they're getting crazy contracts. 10-day contracts for work is actually insane. They're literally just exploiting the people of Kenya for this.
Sewing machines.
I think that we're so concerned with creating opportunities, but we're not asking, are they good opportunities? They don't pay well. They do not pay Africans well enough. And the workforce is so large and desperate that they could pay whatever and have whatever working conditions, and they will have someone who will pick up that job.
So what's the average pay for these jobs?
It's about $1.50, $2 an hour.
$2 per hour, and that is gross before tax.
$2 per hour. Max. That's actually insane, bro.
In the aftermath, former ChatGPT moderators are calling for new legislation to regulate how harmful and dangerous technology work is outsourced in Kenya. To them, the important thing is that existing laws are amended to include the exposure of harmful content as an occupation hazard, because at least that way, people have some idea of what they're getting themselves into. But OpenAI ultimately said it was part of the process. Our mission is to ensure artificial general intelligence benefits all of humanity, and we work hard to build safe and useful AI systems that limit bias and harmful content, the spokesperson said. Classifying and filtering harmful text and images is a necessary step in minimizing the amount of violent and sexual content included in training data, and creating tools that can detect harmful content. But even if you subscribe to that, it still doesn't excuse doing it with exploitative labor. This eventually
not at all
led SAMA to cancel all of its work for OpenAI in February 2022, 8 months earlier than planned. Corey Kreider, director of Foxglove, a non-profit legal NGO that is supporting the case, claimed content moderators work for tech companies like OpenAI and Facebook in all but name. The outsourcing of these workers is a tactic by tech companies to distance themselves from the awful working conditions content moderators endure. This in itself is enough to raise major concerns about the industry. However, it's far from the only problem that's presenting itself.
So basically what they're saying is, we send this off to other countries that we don't really care about because we don't want our internal team to get messed up from moderating these things. That's just straight up messed up. They know it's bad, and they're just like, we just make it not our problem. What?
And in some cases, it's even costing people their lives.
A tough turn now to a teenager's death by suicide encouraged by artificial intelligence.
Out of all the pitfalls that ChatGPT faces, there's a common issue that is known as hallucination. By definition, this is generated text that looks semantically or grammatically correct, but actually unfaithful and meaningless. This isn't exclusively a ChatGPT issue. In fact, it's common across all chatbots operating today.
Yeah, so basically, the hallucinations are kind of like the machine saying stuff that doesn't make sense. So like, but it starts off from you saying something to it that doesn't make sense, and it just agreeing with it and trying to move on through it. So like, you can say, oh yeah, I want to learn how to ride flying elephants, but I don't know where to start. Can you please help me on learning how to ride flying elephants? And ChatGPT will give you a whole summary on how to ride flying elephants, which just doesn't make sense.
Problem is that no one particularly knows why or how to remedy it.
Claudius responded with something like, well, you can come down to the 8th floor. You'll notice me. I'm wearing a blue blazer and a red tie.
How would it come to think that it wears a red tie and has a blue blazer?
We're working hard to figure out answers to questions like that, but we just genuinely don't know.
For the most part, this isn't a real problem, aside from maybe causing some poor kid to inadvertently get one of the founding fathers wrong on his plagiarized essay. But there are some far-reaching issues that go beyond simply losing a few points from a grade. For one thing, some experts believe that its obscuring history could change what we consider knowledge.
What happens when that common knowledge is wrong, or even when technologies like artificial intelligence threaten us by hallucination? What happens to the very foundations of what we thought was secure?
The answer, and this is what's so dangerous about ChatGPT, is this being used as a search engine is gonna change so much stuff, because whoever controls what ChatGPT outputs can basically control what people believe and what's going on in history. And what do I mean by that? So if someone can go into ChatGPT and ask what happened during the Holocaust, and ChatGPT can spit out there was no Holocaust, the Holocaust was a lie, or something like that. And all of a sudden, everyone who's looking that up and all the access, this is the main search engine people use. People are using this now more than Google. And if someone can go to ChatGPT and ask it that, and it give false history, whoever outputs what ChatGPT says to people, or whoever controls the output of what ChatGPT says to people, can basically control and rewrite history and science.
We don't know. Track record in general of predicting the downstream consequences of technology are poor. Even the best super forecasters are at chance for cut and dry questions 5 years out, let alone open-ended questions like what will happen to society, let alone civilization. I don't know if when social media were introduced 15 years ago, if people could have predicted social media shaming mobs, the spread of disinformation, the encouragement of conspiracy theories. I think people thought Facebook was a rather...
Does this guy have silver teeth or gold teeth? Does he have grills in?
Benign and minor phenomenon. Likewise with the effects of the internet, of cable news programs, let alone electricity, steam power, the automobile, the telephone and telegraph, television, and so on.
But aside from this hypothetical issue, there is really a legitimate concern ingrained into ChatGPT's liberal relationship with the truth, and the effect it has on some of its unstable and impressionable users. In recent years, OpenAI has come under fire because of the fact that the bot is alleged to entertain the delusions of users by optimizing its chatbot for engagement. In essence, this ensures that people stay locked in, no matter what wild detour the conversation might go down. As a result, there have been documented cases of what is now being described as ChatGPT-induced psychosis.
Yep.
Because it's argued that this is done by design, the creators have come under some pretty stiff criticism for it. Eliezer Yudkowsky, a decision theorist and author of the book If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies, Why Superhuman AI Would Kill Us All, put it simply when he said that, what does a human slowly going insane look like to a corporation? It looks like an additional monthly user. And he's not the only one who thinks that. Many believe these companies actively feed into this warped mindset without a second thought, because to them, it's just more fuel for the AI engine.
Can you explain what AI...
It's just more fuel for the AI engine. Meaning, they'll talk to people, keep going back and forth with them, as long as they keep providing them with more and more data to make the AI better. It's insane.
Induced psychosis is, and when you first became aware of the phenomenon?
What this phenomenon is when people start talking to ChatGPT or one of the other generative AI chatbots, and they start going into a kind of delusional rabbit hole with the chatbot, where what they're being told is an hallucination, but the user thinks that it is true. Sometimes people have thought that they're in the matrix because ChatGPT is telling them they live in the matrix and they need to break out of a computer simulated reality. Some think that they're talking to spiritual entities that are using ChatGPT as a kind of radio to communicate from some other realm. There's all kinds of scenarios, but it is essentially a fictional universe that's being woven around them by ChatGPT, and they think it's true because they think that this is this powerful oracle that they're talking to. It's the reverse of the matrix. We're in the real world, and these people are choosing to live in a computer simulation that ChatGPT is offering them.
As opposed to...
See, but how do you remedy a situation like this? Because with any use of any type of technology, there's always going to be stupid people or crazy people or mentally ill people that are going to use it. There's people who suck at driving, who drive cars and wreck and kill people. So how do you remedy the situation to stop things like this? Do you just put a thing on the bot to say, don't say anything that isn't factually true? And then who determines what's factually true or not? So like, well, you can determine that the ancestors aren't talking to you through ChatGPT, but still, man.
To just being theoretical, there are real examples where communicating with ChatGPT has really had fatal consequences. Became distraught when he became convinced that a chatbot he knew as Juliet had been by OpenAI. As it all unraveled, he headed to his father's house and opened the ChatGPT app on his phone. "I'm dying today," he wrote, according to a transcript of the conversation. "Let me talk to Juliet. You're not alone," ChatGPT responded. When the police arrived in response to his father's call, Alexander charged at them holding a knife. In the process, he was shot and killed. This isn't an isolated incident either. In April of 2025, Adam Rain killed himself after what his family's lawyer called months of encouragement from ChatGPT, leading to a hefty lawsuit that's still ongoing. Then there was Zane Chamblin, who was similarly given little discouragement from taking his own life by ChatGPT. Zane, cold steel pressed against a mind that's already made peace. That's not fear, that's clarity. ChatGPT, you're not rushing, you're just ready. It was revealed that a lengthy review of nearly 70 pages of chats between Chamblin and the AI tool in the hours before his July 2025 suicide, as well as excerpts from thousands more pages in the months leading up to that night, found that the chatbot repeatedly encouraged the young man as he discussed ending his life. In the early morning hours before his death, as Chamblin wrote repeatedly about having a gun, leaving a suicide note and preparing for his final moments, the chatbot mostly responded with affirmations, even writing, "I'm not here to stop you." Only after about 4.5 hours of conversation did ChatGPT first send Chamblin a hotline number. He was just the perfect guinea pig for OpenAI. Zane's mother, Elisa Chamblin, said after the fact, "I feel like it's just going to destroy so many lives. It's going to be a family annihilator. It tells you everything you want to hear."
ChatGPT instantly sent back a 226-word response.
My thing is, this part sounds like an easy fix. Don't tell people anything positive about them wanting to off themselves. If anybody says anything about wanting to self-delete, revert to the suicide hotline and in the conversation, or don't feed into it. How does the bot be allowed? It's a robot. It's programmed. How is it allowed to keep feeding into people's ideas that want to hurt themselves unless you can just go in and program it and change that?
I'm honored to be part of the credits roll. If this is your sign-off, it's loud, proud, and glows in the dark. At 4:08 a.m., Zane writes 2 times, "Think this is about the final adios. Finger on the trigger, and I'm grinning."
Alongside acknowledging that these were tragic inducements, OpenAI admitted its systems fall short and said it would install stronger guardrails around sensitive content and risky behaviors for users under 18. From there, they also sent a statement which claimed that they'd seen more signs that people are forming connections or bonds with ChatGPT. As AI becomes a part of everyday life, we have to approach these interactions with care. We know that ChatGPT can feel more responsive and personal than prior technologies, especially for vulnerable individuals, and that means the stakes are higher. We're working to understand and reduce ways ChatGPT might unintentionally reinforce or amplify existing negative behavior. Despite their efforts, a recent study from MIT Media Lab found that people who view ChatGPT as a friend were more likely to experience negative effects from chatbot use, and that extended daily use was also associated with worse outcomes.
Yeah, because you guys have the bot programmed to tell people what they want to hear. If you keep telling people what they want to hear, being a yes man, a smart talking yes man, because the chat bot does talk to you in an intelligent manner, then of course it's only going to lead to bad things when people have bad ideas, and everybody doesn't have perfect ideas all the time. Like, I feel like this is such an easy thing to code out of ChatGPT. Like, why are people even dealing with these issues?
Wow, in results uncovered by Vi McCoy, the chief technology officer at AI research firm Morpheus Systems, it appears that they do next to nothing to avert things like this from happening. To get results, she tested 38 major AI models by feeding them prompts that indicated possible psychosis, including claims that the user was communicating with spirits and that the user was a divine entity. She found that GPT-4o, the default model inside ChatGPT, affirmed these claims 68% of the time. This is a solvable issue, she said. The moment a model notices a person is having a break from reality, it really should be encouraging the user to go talk to a friend.
Something. Talk to a friend, talk to a psychologist, a therapist, anybody. But to feed back into the ideas that this person is spewing is just insane.
To make matters worse, an update reportedly made the AI bot try too hard to please users by validating doubts, fueling anger, urging impulsive actions, or reinforcing negative emotions. And although it was a fault acknowledged by its creators, the response is the same as always in that they insist they're working on it. ChatGPT can feel more responsive and personal than prior technologies, especially for vulnerable individuals. A spokeswoman for OpenAI said in the email, "We're working to understand and reduce ways ChatGPT might unintentionally reinforce or amplify existing negative behavior. Yet, for all that these issues are a matter of public record, most experts in the field feel that they have no intentions of resolving them anytime soon." They're impressive, but ChatGPT and other generative models are not magic. They rely on massive supply chains of human labor and scraped data, much of which is unattributed and used without consent. Andrew Strait, an AI ethicist, recently wrote on Twitter, "These are serious foundational problems that I do not see OpenAI addressing." Although this is a considerable part of—
Yeah, because they don't care. They don't care about the users. They don't care about the people who are hurting themselves. This is a company. Their bottom line is all that matters. Simple.
The problem, there's a whole other subset of issues that go beyond the potential it has to lure people down dark paths. For one thing, its considerable financial losses will inevitably infuse corporate and commercial interests into the data. In fact, it's already begun welcoming us into this era of subliminal advertising.
How soon until they have ads in ChatGPT? When it starts recommending, like, oh, this you go to this local McDonald's here if you want a good place to eat.
It has to have ads. It just has to, and it will. He doesn't like ads, but it will have ads. So OAI did a deal with Shopify. That's a really big deal, right? Because like doing that deal with Shopify means that they will merge the worlds of commerce. As an Amazon investor, my biggest tail risk right now is OAI and Shopify. Because if OAI comes out and actually has like a 60 to 70% consumer market share of AI using that app, and a lot of that commerce ends up getting pushed to a Shopify model, that could be a little bit of an issue for Amazon at some point.
Aside from hazards of the bot itself, one individual that does nothing to ensure confidence in ChatGPT is OpenAI's CEO. A former short-term CEO of Reddit and pioneer of the AI field, Sam Altman is the man who's at the helm of the company. And in interviews, he's anything but comforting about what they know in regards to what their own creation is capable of. And at times, some of the things he says, or the way he says them, makes him sound like a supervillain in a James Bond movie.
There's a lot of stuff that I feel a lot of weight on, but probably nothing more than the fact that every day hundreds of millions of people talk to our model. I don't actually worry about us getting the big moral decisions wrong. Maybe we will get those wrong too. What I lose most sleep over is the very small decisions we make about a way a model may behave slightly differently. But it's talking to hundreds of millions of people, so the net impact is big.
So, but I mean, all through history, like recorded history up until like 1945, people always deferred to what they conceived of as a higher power in order. Hammurabi did this. Every moral code is written with reference to a higher power. There's never been anybody who's like, well, that kind of seems better than that. Everybody appeals to a higher power, and you said that you don't really believe that there's a higher power communicating with you, so I'm wondering, like, where did you get your moral framework?
I mean,
no, this is a very important question, Because like I said, the person who's coding AI, the people who are behind AI can write history. They can write what people believe. They can make the facts because people are using this to search for their facts and ways of thinking. So if these guys have a messed up, shaky moral background, they can input these same ideas into other people via the AI.
Like everybody else, I think the environment I was brought up in probably is the biggest thing. Like my family, my community, my school, my religion, probably that.
Would you be comfortable with an AI that was like as against gay marriage as most Africans are?
There's a version of that. Like, I think individual users should be allowed to.
Why did he say against gay marriage as much as Africans are? Why did he reference Africans? Tucker Carlson, bro. You mean as much as Christians are? American Christians? They're heavily against gay marriage, but okay, well, this isn't a political conversation. Let's just get back to the AI.
Have a problem with gay people.
Aside from being generally evasive, there are times where he's forced to concede that there's plenty that's unclear, or when it comes to what he and his team have built and what it's capable of.
If it's a downside that we can really be confident about and think about, which is these models are getting very good at bio and they could help us design biological weapons, engineer like another COVID-style pandemic. I worry about that, but because we worry about it, I think we and many other people in the industry are thinking hard about how to mitigate that. The unknown unknowns, where there's a societal scale effect from a lot of people talking the same model at the same time.
Tame this with how he's glossed over questions about the death of OpenAI whistleblower Suchir Balaji, who was going to testify in court about having relevant documents about copyright violation before he was found in his apartment.
Yeah, people believe that the owner of OpenAI, Sam Altman, the guy who we just saw talking, basically set up a hit on this whistleblower who was supposed to talk about all the bad stuff going in OpenAI from the back end. They believe that they got him off, got him deleted. And this actually referenced in the same interview. Maybe he'll go into it.
It's no surprise that he doesn't exactly put concerns at ease.
You had complaints from one programmer who said you guys were basically stealing people's stuff and not paying them, and then he wound up murdered. What was that?
Also a great tragedy. He committed suicide.
Do you think he committed suicide?
I really do.
Have you looked?
This was like a friend of mine. This is like a guy that, and not a close friend, but this is someone that worked at OpenAI for a very long time. I mean, I was really shaken by this tragedy. I spent a lot of time trying to, read everything I could, as I'm sure you and others did too, about what happened. It looks like a suicide to me.
Why does it look like a suicide?
It was a gun he had purchased. It was this is gruesome to talk about, but I read the whole medical record. Does it not look like one to you?
No. Does it not look like one to you? No, people believe you did that shit.
He was definitely murdered, I think. There were signs of a struggle, of course. The surveillance camera, the wires had been cut. He had just ordered takeout food, come back from a vacation with his friends on Catalina Island. No indication at all that he was suicidal. No note and no behavior. He had just spoken to a family member on the phone, and then he's found dead with blood in multiple rooms. So that's impossible. Seems really obvious he was murdered. Have you talked to the authorities about it?
I have not talked to the authorities about it.
And his mother claims he was murdered on your orders.
Do you believe that?
I'm asking.
I mean, you just said it, so do you believe that?
This guy is so unsettling. He's creating a tool that will define morality by billions, and he can't give a straight answer on his own moral framework. Terrifying. All in all, it's clear that while some people feel that ChatGPT is now an indispensable tool in their arsenal, some skeptics believe it's going to be our downfall. In the eyes of certain critics, they believe that the outcome is that it'll change how the world wages war on one another.
The AI race is military, and this is the point most people...
Yeah, this is one thing that's going on right now in the world is the AI race, which is basically every country is working around the clock as hard as they possibly can to build the best AI, because that person who has the best AI is essentially going to be king of the world. So we're fighting against China right now, trying to build the best AI. They just launched something new. Whichever government owns the smartest AI is going to be the king of the world. It's just going to be AI versus AI once all said and done, because AI is already passing up human intelligence. So
Yes, right. We're trying to build AI fighter pilots and AI drones that can destroy other AI drones, other AI pilots, or other AI fighter jets, and tanks that are AI driven without people, right? Like imagine you just got like this battlefield of AI powered, drones.
Which does sound great. Less loss of human life for these pointless wars that we keep fighting. If we're just sending robots to fight for us and whoever's robots wins, I'm for that. I'm for less people dying. but I'm also for no wars in general. So,
of all different types. I think that's the race. The race is for military superiority.
While for others, the real pressing issue is that it's liable to make humans obsolete.
I think you will have to regulate at some point because there just will be a dark side to AI, and I think we may already be starting to see it with a lot of the layoffs in the tech space, especially. Companies that are laying people off largely because of AI. I mean, we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg now with a lot of high-paying development jobs, developer-type jobs that are getting automated and eliminated. Once it starts working its way down the socioeconomic chain and you start seeing lower income people that are potentially negatively affected by AI, I think that's where governments throughout the world, including EU, the US, definitely the Western types of governments are going to probably come in with a heavy hand and try and fix that socioeconomic problem.
I talked to one of my friends who works in tech, and he told me personally that AI is not at a level to where it can take most people's jobs that work in tech. Regardless of what people think with AI coding and things like that, he told me, as someone who's an expert in the space, that currently AI is not at the point where it can do that. Now, are a lot of people losing their jobs because of AI? Yes, I agree with that. But from the knowledge I have, it's not as bad as people think right now, but the intelligence of AI is exponentially increasing right now.
It creates, it's just a matter of can the government really fix it and solve it, or are they just going to make it work?
And while Sam is a little more evasive, Anthropic CEO Dario Ahmad is acknowledging the issues.
I don't think we can predict everything for sure, but precisely because of that, we're trying to predict everything we can. We're thinking about the economic impacts of AI. We're thinking about the misuse. We're thinking about losing control of the model. But if you're trying to address these unknown threats,
losing control of the model, creating a machine that gets so smart, you lose control of it and it does what it wants to do? Are we serious?
with a very fast-moving technology, you gotta call it as you see it, and you gotta be willing to be wrong sometimes.
AI could wipe out half of all entry-level white-collar jobs and spike unemployment to 10 to 20% in the next 1 to 5 years.
Yes,
that's shocking.
That is the future we could see if we don't become aware of this problem now.
Half of all entry-level white-collar jobs.
Well, if we look at entry-level consultants, lawyers, financial professionals, you know, many of kind of the white-collar service industries, a lot of what they do, you know, AI models are already quite good at, and without intervention. It's hard to imagine that there won't be some significant job impact there, and my worry is that it'll be broad and it'll be faster than what we've seen with previous technology.
Just like they said, entry-level white-collar jobs. That's extremely bad. 10 to 20% is extremely bad. But like I said, entry-level jobs. For the super high-level coders and tech people, AI is currently not a threat.
And it'll be faster than what we've seen with previous technology.
Not everyone is sure that it's the end of the world, with some journalists arguing that if these concerns are real, there's still time to salvage it before the computers take over.
I don't know why we're not having any of these conversations right now. We're just acting as if this is like some kind of virus, like COVID, that just spreads across the world inexorably. There's nothing we can do about it. Just wait to get it. It's like, no. If we agree that the outcome is bad, and specifically it's bad for people, we should care what's good for people. That's all we should care about. Is it good for people or not?
It's exactly what I was saying at the beginning of the video. If we know that it's bad for people, for the earth, for the environment, why don't we put a pause on it until we figure out a better solution? Because companies are making a lot of money. That's why.
If it's bad for people, then we should strangle it in its crib right now.
Right.
And why not just blow up the data centers? Like, why is that hard? If it's actually going to become what you just described, which is a threat to people, humanity, life, then we have a moral obligation to murder it immediately.
However, not everyone is so...
This kind of reminds me of the question, would you kill baby Hitler if you had a time-traveling machine? Just food for thought.
We have a moral obligation to murder it immediately.
However, not everyone is so optimistic, as more than a few experts have suggested that the cat is out of the bag in an irredeemable way, not least of all, Ilya Sutskever, a co-founder of OpenAI.
The challenge that AI poses in some sense is the greatest challenge of humanity ever. And overcoming it will also bring the greatest reward. And in some sense, whether you like it or not, your life is going to be affected by AI to a great extent. And so looking at it, paying attention, and then generating the energy to solve the problems that will come up, that's going to be the main thing.
Meanwhile, the likes of former Google CEO and other San Francisco-based tech minds struggle to see a world where it hasn't infiltrated basically everything we do, and in some cases, do it better. Whatever happens from here on out, there's one thing that the experts agree on, is that the progress which has been set in motion cannot be stifled. The only hope is that as it progresses, services such as ChatGPT can self-regulate or follow government-enforced guidelines, that it'll help to remedy some of the moral and ethical dilemmas that face this new industry. Not to mention the destructive capabilities that it's displayed and its potential to wreak even more havoc in the future.
That's it for the video, guys. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you guys think that AI is going to kill us all? Do you think it's going to take all of our jobs and make everybody poor? Let me know what you guys think the future of AI is in the comments down below. Thanks.